When did you start coming here, and what did you do?
It's a funny, I was thinking about this the other day, and it's a funny story of how I started coming down here. I actually lived on Iowa Avenue there in Washington, D.C., 4503 Iowa Avenue. And when I was about, I don't know, 8 or 9, as kids would do, mischievous, I had a neighbor of mine, Miss Ross, who had a beautiful cherry tree. So we would go over there and climb the tree and get the cherries out of the tree when they were ripe. So one day I was up in that tree picking the cherries off, to take out of there, and I looked down and there was this little old lady standing there with a bucket, and it was the owner of the tree. And the only thing she said to me was, "When you get finished, can you pick me some?" She held up the bucket. So I started coming down here with her in the summertime and staying down here over at Dr. Hunt's, and then fishing and things like that, because Miss Ross knew that I loved fishing even at that age. So she would bring me down here, and Washington was not that far away. Also, there was another person that was down here who was already established, and that was Navarro Madden. Now, Navarro Madden actually lived in Washington, but his parents lived here, up from Dr. Hunt. Now, Navarro Madden was a member of our hunt club. Now, Navarro Madden is the brother of, I want to say her name, it's right on the tip of my tongue, I forgot it, I know she's going to be mad. Last name is Thomas, but she lives over here, her mother lives over there, she lives, Camila, and her daughters and everything live over here too. So that's 4 generations. So her brother was a member of our hunt club and stayed in the cabin, which we still have down in Virginia. And the hunt club was down in Bowling Green, Virginia. Navarro was down here, and so we used to come down and see him later on, and would fish with him. Then my grandmother moved from Washington. She was originally in Michigan. She moved from Washington, and from Michigan to Washington, and then she bought a piece of property, which is where I'm at now, at 3446 Cohasset, and she bought that property. My parents actually wanted to move out of Washington. Well, they wanted to live in Washington, but they wanted to move to another place, which was over on Southern Avenue. So my dad built the house, my dad and I built the house over there. My father did not want to move into that house after he built it. So then he started looking around for some other property. And my mother wanted to move down to St. Charles City. She did not want to move here. So my father finally put his foot down and says, "You're moving here," and he purchased the property that you have here on Rockaway Avenue.
Just call this Rockaway.
Yeah, Rockaway.
How did it get changed from Rockaway to Rockway?
It just depends. It's like potatoes and potatoes, I guess. Some people call it Rockaway, Rockway.
Well, because all of these avenues are named for water spots, like Saratoga, Narragansett, and so on. And Rockaway, of course, is a famous beach in Long Island. But I was told that the post office made a mistake at one point and changed it to Rockway.
Well, actually, the post office, the streets were here, but originally the post office had everybody with a post office box here. Nobody had an address, and it was either 77 or 78 when all that changed. And at the time, I was living in the house up here on Cohasset Avenue. It was a summer home. Most of the homes that were built down here were built by Tyler or the other guy. I can't think of his name right now.
Wendell Lilly.
Huh?
Lilly.
Lilly.